So today we have a brand new product. It's the Ninja Foodi Smart XL. And I am so excited. I'm in love with it. It's got this new temperature probe that you can just put into your meat or roast, whatever you're cooking.
This is the first pressure cooker that actually can tell you what's going on inside the pot. If you've seen any of our other videos, we always tell you like your pressure cooker doesn't know. Now it can know. With this awesome little thermometer, it knows, and it's super cool. The other thing, if you're familiar with Ninja Foodies, they have two sets of lids, but the Smart XL, get it? Just the one lid. This one lid pressure cooks and it air fries and it steam crisps and steam bakes. It does it all with just the one lid.
So I feel like it really truly is a multi-purpose cooker that they advertise all of them as multi-purpose, but this truly is.
Yeah, we really like it. So I'm Jen.
And I'm Barbara.
And we're with Pressure Cooking Today.
So let's talk about
the housing. First and foremost, we're going to talk to you about what comes with it out of the box and then how to clean it, get it set up and assembled and ready to cook.
So this basket
is your air fryer basket. It comes in two parts and you just like pop it together.
This just slips on and it's got these vents in the bottom so that the air can circulate around whatever you're cooking, and it's nice and deep so you can fit a lot in there.
Yep. This is your, on ours we call it a trivet. This is an air fryer rack, dehydrator rack. It's kind of cool because it like stacks on itself.
Yeah, so
you
put it down.
Start with it down.
And then you grab these handles and then it just slides in through those holes. It sits on the rack. And in the manual, they have lots of recipes for 3-layered cooking. So you put like pasta in the bottom and then broccoli on top and then some chicken on top of that. So if you're into layered cooking, that's awesome.
It comes with this little book. The first little bit is just different recipes. And then the last like 30, 40 pages are charts. And these charts are super useful because this has 3 different settings. It has the pressure cook setting, it has the steam crisp setting, and then it has your traditional like air fryer and other option settings. And so steam crisp is something new. It's not something that we've developed recipes for because this is the first time that we've seen it in a pressure cooker. And so you can't take like one of the pressure cooking recipes and straight up convert it over to a steam crisp recipe. You have to kind of go through a different.
Yeah, so that's why it's great that they've given you a manual so that has all the information in it that you need.
Yeah. So, okay, back to the housing. Okay, so this is your housing. Never, ever, ever put it in water. Electrical appliance stays out of the water. To clean it, you would take like a damp rag and you'd wash it down.
Let's talk about how it opens. It opens a little different.
Yes. So when you get this out of the box, you're going to see stickers here and here and here and here. There's stickers all over the place because they really want to make sure you know. We've taken the stickers off to demo for you, except for some of them because I like them and I just leave them on. But to open it, it's got this little handle. It's like, I think it says lift here on it because they really want you to lift from the side. If you actually grabbed this section and lifted it here, you're going to get steam burns all over your hands and it's not going to be fun. So just lift it away from yourself with the lifter handle.
Yeah, so even if I were to open it this direction, my arm would be over the hot steam. So you want to be very careful when using this that you open it properly. This is not for opening. So it clearly labeled it right there that that's what you want to use.
Yeah. Talk about the inside of the housing real quick.
Right.
So this inside of the housing, you lift your inner pot out and it's got kind of a heat plate down here on the bottom, and that's kind of where the magic happens. It kind of lifts and lowers the pot inside to help it maintain its current temperature. So again, like when I'm cooking, I tend to be a little bit absent-minded. And so I'll often, if I've got my pot out and I'm filling it up with chicken broth or water or doing other stuff with my pot, I like to leave a wooden spoon over the top to just be like, hey, Jen, don't be in a hurry and add your water there because it is makes a mess and it can ruin your machine. So you don't want to do that.
Right. So you always have to cook in the pot. And this pot has a ceramic nonstick coating. A lot of the Instant Pots just have a stainless steel. So you want to be a little more careful with this pot so that you don't scratch it up.
Yeah, but you don't have to worry about like the, what is it, Teflon?
Yeah, it's not a Teflon coated, it's ceramic coated. Yeah. So it's a little more durable, but still treated pretty gently.
And Ninja says that you can put your inner pot in the dishwasher if you like. I baby my pots and hand wash them only.
And I always put it in the dishwasher.
So your choice, whatever you feel most comfortable with.
This can also go in the dishwasher.
Yes, and this. And your silicone sealing ring can go in the dishwasher. We'll get to this in just a minute. So we talked about cleaning this. Next, we're going to move on to the lid. All right, so we've got the lid here. As you can see, it's got the air fryer element right on it. It also has this little like silver ring around the edge. That's where you take your sealing ring. This is what you need for it to come to pressure, but you also need it for like the steam crisp settings. So to put it on, you just kind of find a little spot, push it in, and just kind of go around all the way. It's really important that this lid be on or that the ring is in place all the way. If I were to leave it like this with this little top part out, you're going to get steam coming out the sides and your pressure cooking isn't going to work. So just get in the habit of when you put it on, go ahead and run your finger around it all the way. Make sure it's nice and put in there. There we go. I think we got it. But it's something you always want to double check when you go to pressure cook. So we've got the heating element on here. There's a couple other things you need to know about. You've got this is it's like a cover for this, so it's like a food's foam.
Anti-clog valve, I think they call it.
Fancy term. So to get this off, you turn it clockwise, and it tells you about this in your manual. And then to put it on, you just kind of push it in place. Especially when it's new, these can be a little bit tricky to get off, but after you do it a couple times, it gets a lot easier. And then you do this one, Mom, it's your favorite.
All right. So this little temperature probe has to be in place. If you're using the thermometer to cook a meat, we've done a roast
and a whole chicken.
It cooks up beautifully and brown. But one of these will have to be in place. If you're not using the thermometer, it has to be in the side of the meat that you're cooking. Then you'll want to have this in place.
If you don't have it, it will not work without it, and you'll have to buy a new one. Like, we were just going fast and we went to pressure cook, and it just gives you like, I think it's like, I don't know, there's some error warning that it gives you when it's not in place. So they have very clear instructions. Don't lose it. Don't lose it. Where's the little thing that goes in the, it's right here on the side. It stores it right here on the side. You've got your little thermometer storage on the side.
So you keep it with it at all times.
So in the manual, they're even like, put the cap in this little spot. It's made to fit right in there when you're not pressure cooking.
Right.
And it just pops right into place right there. So we got that back in place. Okay, yep, we're good to go. So that's the lid. Cleaning it is, because it doesn't come off, the lid is not removable. It's stuck on there for good reason, to keep the electrical parts intact. And so it's a wipe off only, wipe with a very not damp cloth, like not dry, but like not at all wet. And if when you're pressure cooking, you get some like splatters on this guy, the manual tells you to clean it up by putting 3 cups of water in your pot and turning it on a steam setting, just letting it steam off. And then you should be able to wipe away anything that kind of accumulated on here. On here, you've got your heating element, and then also behind the heating element, there's this little fan thing that turns, and you want to make sure that both of those are clean before you put it away to use next time.
Right, so do we want to talk about the steam release valve?
Yeah, so that's the underside of the lid. Let's talk about the top of the lid.
Okay, so another important thing that we need to talk about is the steam release valve.
When you get it, there's a big sticker over the top that's like, this is supposed to be jiggly, and it really is. Like, it's not broken, nothing's wrong with it. It's meant to be jiggly. So
there's 2 settings, seal and vent. So it's very simple. If you're going to pressure cook, you just want it on seal. And if you want to release the pressure, you turn it to vent.
Yeah.
But another nice feature about this Ninja Foodi XL, Smart XL, is that it automatically releases the pressure.
Yes. So we'll get in. Let's see. Shall we turn it on? All right. So turn it on. Okay. So do you see how it's got these little orange along the top? That tells you what each of the settings are, and it corresponds, let me find it, to the placement that this is in. So all the way over to the left, this is left, right? It's backwards for me. So all the way over this way is the pressure cook setting, and you can never, ever, ever lift the lid when the slider is all the way over here. But once the slider is either in the middle or to the far right, the lid comes up easily. The slider is how it controls the menus. So when the slider is over to the left, you've got your pressure cook menus down here. And that's got your pressure and your natural releases. You can select those automatically. And so you can choose if you want to use a manual release, you can do that at any time through the valve on the top. But if you want to set it to like hands-free release it, you can do that here. And I love it. They've got 3 options.
Yeah, so you can do a quick release,
Mm-hmm.
you can do a natural release, and you can do a delayed release, which we're
Yay!
so excited
Most
about.
of our recipes say, allow the pressure to release naturally for 5 minutes and finish with a quick pressure release. And so this, you can pre-program that. So if your kid has a diaper blowout or you need to go and pick your kid up from soccer, I'm not talking from experience here. So to set the release, you see how it says high pressure right here, and then it's got your cook time over there. And then right here it says pressure natural release, and just scroll down to quick release. Or you can scroll to, it says delayed release. And you see how this little release pressure button comes up? You push that with your finger and it says set. And the default is 10 minutes. So it's allow the pressure to release naturally for 10 minutes and then finish with a quick release. But say your recipe says 5, you just
push the up and down arrow.
Yeah, push the up down arrow that are way over there. 5. Till it says 5. And then you hit start. It's all the way over there.
So when you would use a delayed release, to say you're making still cut oats.
Yes.
And you want to let the foaming settle down for a minute. So that's why you want it to naturally release for a little bit. And then you go ahead and quickly release the remaining pressure. And it's so nice that you can set it to do that all automatically. You don't have to worry about it because you know it's going to do just what you want.
Yeah, that's nice. So anything like oats or pastas, those foam quite a bit. And then with big cuts of meats, like
a big chuck roast.
Yeah. You want it to release a little bit to let the kind of the juices start to stay in it. I don't know.
It just relaxes the meat and
relaxes. But for quick cooking foods like diced chicken or whatnot, you don't really need to let it. Oh, rice, you want to let it.
Rice for sure. Pressure cook it for 3 minutes and let it steam for 10 minutes. So that 10 minutes is natural release, and then release the pressure and fluff your rice, and it's perfect.
All right, so this is setting 1, and that's where you find all your pressure cook settings. If you slide it to the center, they call position 2, setting 2, and that's where you find your steam and crisp and your steam bake settings. So I use the steam crisp to test out their whole chicken recipe that they have in their manual. And it turned out really great. You open it up and it's this beautiful golden color like it's roasted in an oven forever.
Right, and you use the temperature probe, so you just set it to, 165?
I think so, yeah. We followed the recipe from the booklet, and it turned out great. The chicken was cooked right through. We double-checked it with our instant read thermometer right after, and it was spot on. And it was really juicy and neat.
And I used the steam bake to make a cake.
Yeah, it was fluffy. It was really, really nice. It came out great.
If you pressure cook cakes, it tends to be a little bit dense and moist, and this was more fluffy and light, like a oven baked cake.
Yeah, it was really nice. So that's kind of what you get in the center setting, and that's something that we're still playing with, getting to know a little bit because it's new to us. And then we've got this third setting over here. And that's where you find most of the things that you're used to seeing in your pressure cooker, multi-cookers. That's where you've got your yogurt setting, you've got your
sous vide,
and then you've got your traditional like air fryer settings as well. You've got air fry, broil. And then for the recipes that we make on our side, if you want to make a pressure cooking today recipe in your Ninja Foodi, the 2 settings you need to know about for like 99.9% of our recipes are pressure cook and saute. So you slide it to the far left for pressure cook, and then to the far right to get to the saute menu. So let's see here. Scooch it. See how it says air fry right there? You just go down until you get to the saute setting. And you see right here it says high. If you want to adjust the temperature, you can go down, and it's low up to high. So I pretty much usually just leave it at the default when I cook. I know Mom likes to adjust it, so you do high for meats, like a good sear.
So like I did a pressure cooked a roast, but I wanted a nice sear on it, so I turned it up to high. And even in a ceramic pot, I got a really great sear on it, so it does a good job of sautéing. If I'm doing onions and celery, then I'll put about a medium temperature. If I just want to simmer a soup, then sometimes I'll just use the sauté to simmer or to thicken a sauce.
Yeah. And as always, if you're cooking and you find that it's cooking a little bit too hot, just lift the lid. I mean, when you're sauteing, you'll have the lid up anyways, but just lift your pot out a little bit. It'll beep at you, but that'll slow the cooking process right down, just like it would on a stovetop.
Yeah, just as if on a stovetop, if you moved it off the burner a little bit, it'd cool it down a bit.
So you can do that and then lower the level as you go forward, or just add a little bit of liquid and keep going through it, right?
Yep, that's good.
So we've got it on high. Now you'll notice this one has a start button. You always have to remember to hit the start button. So it can be a little bit frustrating sometimes when you go to cook and you've got it all set up and you walk away and it just doesn't do anything. You have to hit start. So hit the start button and it starts kind of the preheating process. It tells you it's cooking on high, and then it just starts a counter to see how long it's been on. The saute setting doesn't have a set length of time.
Like some of the Instant Pots will say hot. Does not. It just says in the menu to preheat it for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it'll tell you it's preheating and it counts up so that you know when it's reached 5 minutes.
I'm often not patient enough to wait the full 5 minutes, and I haven't had a problem with it. You just want to make sure that it's hot before you add your butter or your oil. And even though it's a nonstick pot, I still really like to add that butter or oil just to help make sure it doesn't stick and help when you're sauteing veggies, right, Mom?
Right, and especially if you're doing something like a pasta and you saute the onion, that little bit of oil in the pasta water will help prevent foaming.
Yeah.
So it's always a good idea to use a little bit. Okay, so with all new appliances, we recommend you do a water test, which is simply boiling water under pressure.
It's just a nice way to get familiar with your machine, get really comfortable with it. You can skip it. If you want to just jump right in, go for it. You have our permission. But we want to show you how it works, and the water test is an easy way to do that. So with the water test, all pressure cookers need a minimum amount of liquid to come to pressure. It's that steam that builds pressure in the pot that will raise your little float valve on top that you need. So even though the Ninja Foodi is an 8-quart, it has a 1-cup minimum, which is really nice because it means that a lot of the recipes that are written for 6-quart pressure cookers can work in your 8-quart without any changes. We've tested it on several 6-quart recipes and we haven't had any issues.
Yeah, we haven't needed to make any changes, so that's great.
A lot of 8-quarts you need to 1.5 times or double the recipe, but this one, it works just great. So we'll open it up with our handle in the right spot.
So we'll add our cup of water.
And then again, always get in the habit, make sure your ring is in place. We're good there. So we'll lower the lid. Make sure your valve is in the sealed position. And then you can slide your thing over to the pressure cook setting. It's locked in place, so we're good to go there. And we'll choose, we want a pressure release. Should we do a quick pressure release?
Yeah, let's do a quick pressure
so
release.
We'll do a quick pressure release. We'll go down to the quick release. And then we can set the time. Since we're just doing a water test, we're just going to do
1 minute.
1 minute. The Ninja Foodi can go down to 0 minutes, which sounds kind of funny. It basically means that your pot will come to pressure, and then as soon as it reaches pressure, it will immediately release the pressure. I love a 0-minute cook time for steaming broccoli. It's my favorite.
Yeah, anything that's delicate you don't want to overcook, like broccoli or even asparagus.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 0 minutes. So we've got all that ready. Now we just have to hit the start button. Okay, and you'll hear it start to power on. You'll see the display reads PRE. It's preheating. Just like with the pot of water on the stove, where it needs a little bit of time to come to a boil, the water in your pressure cooker needs time to come to a boil as well. So it'll take a couple minutes before it actually reaches optimal pressure and begins counting down the cook time.
Right, so the float valve will rise. They've got the float valve a little bit hidden back here, but it does rise up just a little bit that you can see, and that seals up your pot. And then when that has sealed up and it's come to pressure, then it will show the time, and the time will start to count down.
Yeah. Also, you won't be able to unlock your pressure cooker until all of the steam has dissipated and this little float valve has popped down. Like if it's even just a little bit up, no matter how hard you try, you're not going to get that switch to move over to the open position.
Right, and after the quick pressure release, it actually says open lid, but it won't let you open the lid until this float valve has dropped. And so you won't see any steam coming out. And when you can actually move that slider over, that's when you can open the lid, even though it tells you a few minutes early that you can open it, you really can't.
Yeah. Okay, so you can see that these little flashing lights are coming on, and that's telling you how close it is to reaching pressure.
So it's a progress bar, and it'll start at 1 dot, 2 dots, 3 dots, right?
All right, so as you can see on the display, we're nearly at pressure, and I don't know if you can hear it on the video, but you can start to hear the boiling going on inside the pot. If you see just a little bit of steam coming out near the pressure release valve or near the float valve or just kind of around this rim, that's totally normal. If you see steam escaping from the sides, that likely means your sealing ring is not in place correctly. Immediately hit stop, to stop the cooking process, open it up and check it out. It's going to be hot because there's lots of boiling water in there. So just wait a minute or use kitchen tongs or something to push it in place.
Mini mitts are your favorite.
Mini mitts. I love them. The little silicone mitts that just go on your fingers. Okay, so it just beeped and you see it says hi and then it's starting to count down. One of the things that is unique about the Ninja Foodi is that it displays minutes and seconds for anything under an hour. So you know exactly how close you are to releasing your pressure.
And since we only set it for 1 minute, it's already down to just a few seconds.
Yep.
At any time, you could press the stop button.
Yeah, and we could release the pressure right now and a big jet of steam would come up, but we're going to let the pressure cooker do it to show you how that works.
Yeah, one of the nice features about this is you can do either the manual release or program it ahead of time to do a quick release or natural release.
And that manual release is really useful for, like we said, if something's gone wrong and you've got steam coming out the side or foam coming out the top, being able to control it and not have to find the right button. It beeped.
So it's going to do the quick pressure release. You're going to see a burst of steam coming up.
Just takes So right now it says open, but there's absolutely no way I could open this.
There's still pressure coming out.
And it won't let me slide it over.
The valve is still up a little bit.
So we just be a little bit more patient. Not always the easiest for me. You might see a little bit of like liquid coming out the top. A couple little spritzes are okay.
Water droplets.
Water droplets, but any foam or food, that's the problem. We should be able to slide it open. And then again, you want to lift it away from your hand. So don't lift over here, lift over here.
And you see how some of this water gets down into this trough and it's going to run into your condensation cup right here. That's one of the things to be aware of with this foodie. You're going to get a little water after pressure cooking on your counter, and it always has a little bit more water here in the condensation cup.
So when you clean it, I usually just take like a paper towel or a rag and I just kind of get it, I don't know, fold it and just kind of run it along the crease. Once it's cool, it's a lot easier to do.
So that's it for the water test.
That's it for the water test. So you're ready to cook anything you want in this. It's a really fun pressure cooker. We really, really like it. It's been really fun to test out. A couple things you should know. I'm going to lock the lid in place so I can lift it. This baby is heavy.
It's heavy.
It's got some weight to it. So
right.
If you are a little bit wimpy like me, I would either leave it on your countertop.
Yeah, and since you have to have the lid open, it can't be underneath counters. So you have to have it on a bar, or you have to, a lot of people have movable carts that they like to cook on. So you could do that, but it really is more difficult if you have to have it underneath countertops. You'd have to turn it so the lid could open. But it is an awesome machine, and we're just having so much fun with it. We thoroughly recommend it. It's expensive. I think we paid $365 for it. So
and it's new. I'm sure it will come down in price as it goes on. But be aware when you're buying it that Ninja Foodi has a couple of models that look very similar. You want to make sure that you find the one that says Smart XL with thermometer. If this thermometer part is important to you, and it's one of the reasons why we really love it, just make sure that before you buy that it mentions the thermometer on there. Because otherwise the lid won't have the little plug for it. And so it's not something that you can buy and add to it down the road. You need that little plug. All right, so thanks for watching. All the links are going to be in the description down below. And be sure to like and subscribe for more great videos. We can't wait to see you in the next one.